What's up YouTube? It's Kory MacKinnon, and today in this video I'm going to be talking to you about the number one thing that I did to dramatically change my business as a real estate investor or any business I've ever run. You're going to want to make sure that you see this video, but before I jump into it, make sure that you're subscribing to the channel. I can't go through these points unless you subscribe or like or comment, so thanks for doing that. Let's jump right into it. Now that we're going to be diving in here, the number one thing that I did to dramatically change my business in the past is hire my first staff. Now, it might sound really simple to you, but this is a game changer. For people that are always trying to do things themselves, or they're a control freak, or they're a very dominant personality, they're going to struggle with delegating. And you might be able to 2x your business, but you'll never be able to 10x your business like Grant Cardone talks about if you don't bring on people onto your team so you can move faster and struggle less with perfection and really have that yin and yang on your team. Because even if you're a great person and you have a lot of balance in your character traits, you got to bring other people onto the team to complement where you're weak and where they're strong. All right, so that is it. And I got some tips for you here today on how to hire your first staff member. Now, a lot of people think that they actually don't need a staff member, and I'm gonna argue that you do. Unless you have all the time in the world and you're like Tim Ferriss here working 4 hours a week, making millions of dollars, then maybe you don't need a staff. But I'm gonna say that if you have that kind of a situation, you probably have a very, very optimized business where it's really delegated out and it's already on the rails and you don't have to do this, all right? But most people need help and they want to buy their time back. Your time is valuable. It's a finite resource. We don't know how much of it we're going to have. That's why you need to hire your first staff or your first helper or your first admin. All right, so let me give you some tips. There are some great books out there that you can be reading on the topic. They would be Who Not How, The E-Myth Revisited, even The Perfect Week Formula by Craig Ballantyne. These are all great books that help you look at how you spend your time and then what you're doing and what your best rules are in the business. And it's not always how you do something, trying to struggle and figure out how to do something. So many people are looking for the tactical strategy as opposed to like, well, who's the person that can just go and take this ball and run with it? That's where a lot of people get life wrong. All right, so I would actually recommend reading some of those books first so that you can just educate yourself. Don't spend too long. You don't need to go read 15 books. I mean, read a few chapters, get inspired, get the gist of it, then get to work, and you can always finish the books later as you go along. All right, the next point that you need to do is make a list of all the different things that you do in a given week or two, so then you can start to see some patterns of the items that you're doing that may not be the best use of your time. All right, I even get stuck in this sometimes where I'm doing things, I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? I should be delegating this to a team member, even if it might take an email or a phone call or a little bit of waiting until I put it on someone else's desk. It's still gonna free up my time. And my time is great for building the business, being more creative, creating more content for people like you. So make that list so that you know what you should and shouldn't be doing, and circle the ones that are the highest and best use of your time and abilities and skills. And then everything else is totally delegatable. Even if that means you need to pay someone else $100 or $200 an hour to do those things, if your time is worth $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour. Sometimes as a real estate investor, our time is worth $1,000 an hour if we're out there hunting for deals that we're gonna make some profit on by putting a little bit of effort into a cosmetic flip, let's say, by managing other people to do it anyways. That is the best use of your time, not making phone calls, not calling handyman, not getting an appliance fixed when it's broken, all those different things that could be handed out to an admin. Okay, so write down all the things that you do on a weekly basis that you should or shouldn't be doing and sort out which ones are the best for you and what's the best to delegate out. Now, the next point is to actually write out your avatar. Like, who is this person that you're looking for? Why would they want to work hours for you? A lot of us have this limiting belief that there aren't people out there that need this, like these part-time hours. Because maybe in the beginning you only have 5 or 10 hours to hire out. And whether it's a person who's in person or if they're virtual, like they're living in a different country, I think there's benefits to both. And I'll probably do that in another video talking about virtual assistants for real estate and boots on the ground assistance for real estate. I've usually used boots on the ground, but I'm also looking to pivot over to a balance of boots on the ground and virtual assistants too, just because that's the way that the world's going these days. So much more can be done virtually. All right, so make your avatar, even give that avatar a name. And for me, it's been finding people that they just really want to help. They don't want to be the person at the front of the bus driving the bus, because that's a lot of work and a lot of stress for them. They like to be in that supportive role. Maybe they used to be in a supportive role and they're looking for that experience again. Or maybe it's a parent whose kids have grown up and now they don't have as much time to spend with their kids, and the kids are older, they're not at school anymore. Fortunately, my kids are all under the age of 9, so my kids still want to hang out with me, and everything seems to be amazing when we're hanging out with each other, but maybe 10 years from now, that won't be the case, all right? So someone who really just wants to be in that supportive role. Now, this step here is probably the most important step, which is you need to start marketing the position. And this is where a lot of people trip up. They don't market it enough, they don't market it hard enough, they don't market it on enough channels. So make sure that you're not just advertising your job position on one channel. Make sure that you're using at least 3, and then make sure that you're using your social media really to your full advantage by talking about it in a video, like a 2-3 minute video to your audience who's watching and listening to you, who's got your captivity all the time. Or if it's not your channel, maybe make sure it's a spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it might be, another employee, whoever's got a good reach on their social media, that's who you could be advertising through when it comes to getting that listing live. Okay, make sure your listing is very clear. Make sure it's not long and boring. I mean, keep it short, to the point, keep it uplifting. People want to be excited. It's got to speak to them. So the last 3 people that I've hired, they're like, wow, when I saw this job position, it really spoke to who I am. It spoke to me. It looked like it was perfectly written out for me. Okay, so if you're looking for more of an administrative type person, you might want to keep the wording professional, but still warm and welcoming. That's how it's going to speak their language, okay? Because words are only 7% of communication, but it is important when you're writing up that ad, okay? Because you want to advertise this on a lot of different channels because you want to cast that really big net. When you cast a big net, you're going to get more applicants, which will put you in the driver's seat with who you get to interview. Okay, next point is, once you've got a bunch of applicants, now you've got to have some great interview questions. You could do interviews over Zoom or Google Meets, so you can see them even if it's from a distance, or do them in person. I like in-person interviews. You'll pick up more body language that way, and the world is opening up right now. We can do interviews at coffee shops. So make sure you have some fantastic interview questions that aren't just yes or no questions. You don't want to be hiring a yes man or a yes woman. Give them scenario-based questions. Use open-ended questions so that you can understand how they would work in different situations, or ask them for scenarios where they did feel like they've done a great job with their strengths, and you can pull that wisdom out of them. All right, now you've got your interviews done. If you've done at least 6 interviews, you should have 2 or 3 candidates that you're narrowing it down to for your top pick. And this is where your gut instincts, your gut is actually your second brain. That's when you're gonna have to trust your gut a little bit more and make that decision based on some metrics that you've been keeping score of. You'd probably wanna score each one of your interviews, and you're gonna know based on your business what's important and what you should score. And then you're also gonna have to make some decisions just based on gut feeling and your sense of the person, that kind of rapport that you're able to build in that half an hour to an hour during the interview process. And if you feel like you need to do a 2-step interview process, you can. If there's other people in your business, that could also help you out as well, where they do the initial interview, and then you do the final interview, and you get their notes and your notes, and you compare them, and both of you to put your heads together and see who the best fit is gonna be. Now, the very last step is going to be mapping out what that person is gonna do for you on a daily basis. You should probably do this earlier on, but at the end of the day, usually when you give somebody an offer, you're gonna have a week or 2 lag time anyways before they get started. They may need to give notice at a different job. They might need to wrap some other projects up with a bow before they can get started with you. So make sure that you map out your SOPs, standard operating procedures, build out their days for them so that they know what a typical day is gonna look like. And don't assume that they know how to build out their day. You build out the day for them. You can put in training exercises, you can put reading in there. Make sure that there's some sort of a metric for them to check in with you on a daily basis. So maybe like a morning huddle in the morning where you cover what they're gonna be doing for the day. And what you're really trying to do is create an interdependent type of relationship. You don't want somebody that's gonna be dependent on you for everything. They don't know how to think for themselves. You don't want somebody that's too independent either, where they just go, and they never check in, they never ask for your feedback. Even though you're supposed to be their superior or their reporting up to them, you want people that are gonna check in with you on a regular basis. You want that interdependence. You want that healthy communication. We're all about communication here in my businesses. We want to make sure that we're always staying in touch at every step of the game, because most problems are actually thinking problems or communication problems, which can be solved if people just communicate and stay in touch a lot more. So there you have it, friends. This is something that will be a game changer for you. You might be able to 2x your business like I talked about just by working harder, waking up a little bit earlier every single day, working a little bit later every single day, being more efficient, but that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. You're not gonna be getting a lot more of your time back, and you definitely will not be able to scale. So if you wanna have a scalable business, you need to hire the right staff, make sure that you empower them, make sure that they are entrepreneurs in your business, that they're gonna be working for you, they have maybe profit sharing, they get some bonuses, all these different things. You treat them really well because they really wanna support you. So looking forward to hearing about your comments here below about your first staff hire. Don't be afraid to do it. Even if it's only for 5 hours a week, you need to get that time back so you can go out and find more real estate deals, all right? Until next time, friends, thank you so much for watching the channel. We'll catch you on the next one.